Welcome back to the Paranormal Classroom, where we take attendance for the unexplained. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Lindsay, and we're two teacher moms talking about stuff that freaks us out.
Tucked away in the Red Rock Canyons of Arizona lies a ranch where Hollywood cowboys once rode horses by day, and allegedly Bigfoot, UFOs, and glowing portals came out to play at night. Welcome to Bradshaw Ranch, where the cattle are gone, the weirdness has moved in, and the government might just be planting trees to cover up those interdimensional rifts. Is it a paranormal hotspot? A misunderstood natural wonder? Or just a really weird place to hike? Let's find out.
Cool, I've never heard of it. I'm excited. This is new.
I know.
But I just was in Sedona not too long ago. Similar kinds of ooky spookies.
Yeah, I want to hear about your Sedona stories. But first, what is haunting you from the week?
Nothing except, not haunting in a bad way, but remember last week I said, on the way here, I sent a message to the Bananas podcast because Scotty Landis said, hey, if you have a podcast, I'll do a half hour. And I was like, no, I didn't hear that correctly. So I sent him a message. Did mine ears deceive me? Did I really hear you say this? And they wrote back and said, would love to. What an honor.
That is so cool. Thank you, Scotty.
So I wrote back saying, okay, how do I make this happen? And we'll do a phone call, a Zoom, and record it or something. We'll make it happen. It'll be fun. Might not be able to be in the car. Like if we do a Zoom, we're gonna need Wi-Fi, so we might have to do it on a different day or time. But we'll make it happen. I love being a bananimal. I'm a murder bananimal, which means I found bananas by being a murderino from my favorite murder. Yeah, I'm a murder bananimal.
Yeah, I pretty much strictly stick to paranormal podcasts. You branch out.
I've a lot of podcasts, but Bananas is what I listen to religiously every week. It's my bright spot. It's just fun. It's just pure delight. And then I also listen, to all my political podcasts on either end of that, and then a little my favorite murder if I've got it in me at the end of a long week. So yeah, lots of podcasts. It's my favorite form of entertainment and information gathering.
Here's what's haunting me.
Okay, let's hear it.
This has been on my mind all week.
Uh-oh.
And it has to do with aliens.
Oh, we're still. I think you either have been abducted and you don't remember.
I don't know.
You have suppressed memories, or you're putting it out in the universe so that it happens.
Well, that could be possible. But I have been on an alien kick lately, and I have been formerly wanting to, it's been really stressing me out, not knowing what they are, why they're here, what they want, But I heard an incredible theory on a podcast this week. It was on the Mayim Bialik podcast.
She's very smart.
She had a guest who, he said it in a way that just kind of made perfect sense to me, and it's all I've been thinking about all week. He says that first of all, you have to assume that there's life on other planets because there's a billion other planets, so that would be logical.
It's a waste of space if there isn't.
And then second, you have to assume that they are here in some way, like either they're actually physically here, or they're coming in and out, or they're sending AI to come and check on us, whatever. But assume this. You have to assume those two things first. But then he says,
I've already assumed those a long time ago. check. Not a hard sell.
He says what they're doing is exactly what they want to be doing. And it was mind-blowing for me because here's the thing. If they didn't want to be seen, they wouldn't be seen. They have technology way more advanced than us. So
sure,
if they didn't want to be seen, they wouldn't be seen. If they wanted to be really seen, like
Independence Day level.
Yeah, Independence Day level, they could do that too.
Sure.
But they're living on the periphery of observation.
They're walking that tightrope.
They're just poking just a tiny bit and staying
I love that.
Kind of out. And he says that's intentional. That is what they're doing on purpose, to make us curious and to make us realize something's
We're not
out
alone,
there.
And so buckle up, baby.
Yeah.
We could take you out in a hot second. Keep us humble.
Yeah, kind of
stay sharp, stay ready, stay humble.
Yeah.
That's the alien motto.
And they're not too mean about it, and he's like they're domesticating us so that when we get to the point where we're technologically advanced to go out of our planet, that we will follow their advice and directions and things like that, right? Like they can kind of
Big brother us. Mentor us.
Yeah. It's his theory.
Interesting.
It makes more sense than any theory I've heard so far, personally.
Sure. I'm just wondering, my follow-up question for him would be like, well, I mean, I guess I could answer it myself, but if they have all this excellent technology, then surely they would have the defenses they would need to come down and offer their services or somehow communicate directly through whatever channels they can.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's bump up this tech. We can get you out there chasing the galaxies. Do you want our help or not? But they also know we'd probably kill them. We'd probably kill them or study them, make them zoo animals or whatever, because they've been watching us a lot longer than we've been watching them.
Right.
So that's probably a delicate dance for them as well. Of like, we'd love to offer you help because it's killing us. Like with my students, like,
I get it.
You twist the righty-tardy, lefty-loosey. With their screwdrivers. I'm sure
but,
aliens are
it's
going
important
nuts.
that they have figured it out on their own. So maybe they're just observing us.
They're just great teachers. They're galactic teachers.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really good. Well, I hope that gave you some peace.
It has. It's given me some peace.
Good. You can sleep better now.
Yeah.
Until they take you.
I'll keep everybody posted. All right. So tonight's story was a recommendation from a listener named Tanya. Hello, Tanya.
Hello, Tanya.
She had such a great story idea. I got to explore something that I didn't know about. I don't think you've heard of it.
Nope.
But it is we're going to talk about a ranch, a very strange ranch called Bradshaw Ranch.
Okay.
And it is very similar to a ranch that you already know.
That shall not be named.
I know, and I was going to ask you.
I call it SW Ranch.
SW Ranch. This is on the Discovery Channel. Lindsay does not like to say the word, and so out of respect, I have been also not saying the word.
If the indigenous friends are not saying it, then I'm not saying it. They know a heck of a lot more than I do.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, that's too bad. You're going to have to go do some research because we're not going to say the word.
You'll find it real fast. SW, and it doesn't stand for Southwest.
We should do charades. Can we do like a listener charades? Like, first word starts with
Rhymes
S.
with thin.
It's an organ all over your body.
Thin talkers. What our podcast is not called.
So true.
I'll take podcast titles for 500.
Alex Trebek.
Alex Trebek. R.I.P.
So SW Ranch, they are very famous for having a ton of different anomalies happening at the ranch, and they have a show on Discovery Channel. It's got like 5 or 6 seasons. I recommend
They love rocketry.
They do love rocketry.
Lots of rockets.
Bradshaw Ranch is actually super similar, and I had never heard of it.
Okay.
And it's
well, ranches, I mean, they're just huge swaths of land that are relatively untouched by humans.
Mm-hmm.
There's animals, grazing or whatever. But, yeah, if it's untouched by humans most of the time, that's a pretty sweet place to land every once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, rest stop.
Bradshaw Ranch has like everything that you could think of. If you were making a stew.
Okay, so it's got cow mutilations.
It's got everything. Keep going.
It's got UAPs in and out. It's got orbs flying, zipping around. It's got weird, like, hybrid human animal.
Yes. Keep going. It's got everything.
Ghost spirits.
Yeah.
Native American.
Yes.
Spiritual stuff. Weird lights.
Yep.
What else? Oh, like high radiation.
Yes. You're nailing
high
it.
Sound frequency,
Mm-hmm.
weird sound waves, sound wavelengths. That's the list I've got right now.
It has all of that, plus I would add it has a Bigfoot stories.
Wow.
It's got everything.
Okay. That Bigfoot is just the cherry on top for me.
You love your Bigfoot.
I love it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to tell you about how the ranch began and its Hollywood history. And then we're going to go into some of the, not all, because I do not have time for that. You don't have time for that. I cherry picked a couple stories from the ranch. And we'll just talk about some of the Native American legends, and then we'll kind of come up with our theories.
Okay.
And that's it. That's
Giddy
tonight.
up.
Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, this ranch, in the 1940s, there was a Hollywood stuntman named Bob Bradshaw. And he got the property and established the ranch.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And
1940s. Let's see. Was that John Wayne era? When was
yes.
John Wayne? Okay.
In fact, that's my next point here. In the 50s and 60s, he opened up his property so they could film westerns.
Okay.
It was like a hot spot for filming. They filmed the movie 3:10 to Yuma.
Oh yeah,
You heard that one?
Yep.
And they filmed the TV show.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, and they filmed the TV show The Lone Ranger.
Oh, problematic, but oh.
In the 70s and the 80s, the film work there starts to decline because I don't know if this is true, but it seems like maybe westerns got less popular in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And then all kinds of crazy paranormal things happened that we're going to get into. And then in 2003, the government came in and acquired the land.
In 2003?
Yeah, they paid for it, but they were like, they took it. They what's the word, sequestered, or they just took it.
What is that called where they can just take your land? I feel like it starts with an I. It's like eminent domain.
Yes, that's it.
They have to pay you, but you don't have a choice to not sell.
And that's what happened with this property.
Oh,
which led to a ton of conspiracy theories because why would they just...
Yeah, they're not building a highway.
No, they made it part of the national forest.
Oh, that's sus.
Yeah, and they like boarded it up and guarded it, and you cannot it's gated up now.
No, that's huge red flags all over the place.
Yeah,
either something's going down or you're about to make something go down.
So at the moment, the government owns it, and the Northern Arizona University has permission to use the land for studying climate change and its effect on plants. And again, I don't know if this is all a big cover-up story, but the Northern Arizona University...
Out of Flagstaff. That's in Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, so they come... Well, Sedona's not too far.
Okay.
So they have a group, a scientific group called SEGA, S-E-G-A, and it stands for the Southwest Experimental Garden Array. And they just study how ecosystems respond to changing climate conditions. So if you go down there right now, they've got all these signs for Sega property, Sega research.
And I'd be like, what? We still have Sega? Somebody's still making
Sega? It's not related to the video games.
That's the real conspiracy.
All right, you want to get into the spooky stuff?
Yeah, I'm on Google Earth real quick. I just want to take a look at it from the air.
Watch, it'll be all blacked out.
It's not, which is interesting. Got a little hilly range. It's definitely got canyons.
It's very secluded. They do tours. I know that you can rent 3-hour Jeep tours that go out to the property line and you just stand there and hopefully you see some
Sedona is one of the prettiest places I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
It's incredibly beautiful. Have you been there?
I have. I went there and I explored the vortex, one of the vortexes that was near their downtown.
Okay, so it's not blocked out. There's just like dirt roads around it. Looks like a baseball diamond. That's funny.
There's a windmill. There should be a windmill there somewhere.
There's a lot of foundations of old buildings. Like the buildings are gone, but the foundations are still there. Like, look at that. That's huge.
Oh, they also had fake buildings.
Maybe that's what it was.
And stuff. And that could be that. They were, if there's a name
like a
for
little
them, I
old
forget.
western town facades.
Yeah, they're just like shells.
Okay, I bet that's what that was. Or is. Interesting. And okay. Lincoln Canyon, just surrounded by all these little beautiful canyons. Wouldn't it be funny if I zoomed in and there was a Bigfoot?
You see Bigfoot? That'd be great.
That'd be amazing. Okay. Well, there it is. I just needed to get a beat on it. And now I got it. Okay, you can keep going.
All right. So we start to get a lot of reports in the 1990s from people who own the property and live there.
Okay.
And they get the attention of a man named Tom Dongo. Have you heard of him?
That's a great name. No, but that's awesome.
Tom Dongo is a major player in UFO research.
Oh.
In the 90s. He still does. He's very active, but he's
heard of him.
He's major. He's got a ton of books.
Okay.
And so he goes down there with his team, and his team, get this, is called SEGA. But this SEGA stands for Scientific Establishment of Galactic Advancement.
Well, one of these two Segas is bogus.
How weird is that they're both called Sega?
I don't think it's weird at all. I think
the
Northern Arizona University thing is a total
ruse.
scam. Yeah.
It's possible. So Tom Dongo.
Because first of all, Arizona's not changing all that much. This part of the desert, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plant change due to climate change.
Right.
They look the same. They're still dry, hot desert plants. They're going to continue to be dry, hot desert plants for a long time. That's not where you would go to observe and document and study.
Yeah. And if you have
plant
a
change
story about it being something you want to observe, then you can set up cameras everywhere and you can bring out like, crazy equipment to like
I think
survey
it's
the
all
land.
made up.
So Tom Dongo, paranormal researcher, author, he claims he's a psychic and a remote viewer. And he's done a lot of investigations on UFOs, vortex phenomena, and unexplained activity around Sedona, Arizona, because that's where he lived. He's from Sedona.
Okay.
There's some really interesting people from Sedona.
Sedona is wild, man. It is so wild. I love it, though.
He has witnessed, because he's done all this research, he's witnessed firsthand portals, alien beings, and military involvement with these things. He's a fountain of stories. Yeah. I listened to a couple podcasts that he was on, and I recommend it because the man is just filled with stories.
Okay.
Tom Dongo. Okay, so the group is there in the 90s, and they bring all their scientific equipment from the 90s. So they've got infrared cameras and EMF meters. They bring psychics there, and they just try to gather as much data as they can. And they have a bunch. And there's a TV show on them that's not SW Ranch, but it's like Beyond SW Ranch or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
this ranch is featured on the first couple of episodes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, story number 1.
Okay.
One of the most famous and bizarre stories from the ranch involves your boy Bigfoot connected to a mysterious portal. So according to Tom Dongo and the other witnesses with him, a group was observing strange lights on the property. And there are strange lights there a lot. Like you can still go there and catch strange lights.
Okay.
So they're observing these strange lights. And then a shimmering rectangular portal appeared in the distance. And they described it as being like, you know how you're looking at heat waves?
Yeah. Like a mirage.
Like a mirage.
Yeah, okay.
So they're seeing this like heat wavy, glowing bluish hue hovering over the ground, and then through the portal, they claimed they could see a different landscape entirely, like another world.
Ooh. I'd be like, run, go, go, go.
I know. And then a large, dark, hairy creature, described just like you would describe a classic Bigfoot, stepped through the portal onto the Arizona desert, took a few steps, looked around, and then vanished, jumped back through the portal.
Whoops, wrong number.
And the portal closed behind him. It reminds me of if you saw the new Loki show on Disney Plus, they have these little portals that are like rectangular that they go through.
I'm sure, I mean, science fiction is based on fact, so
exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Those ideas, if we can imagine it, there's a strong possibility it exists.
Yeah. What if this is how Bigfoot really like pops in and out of people see him everywhere?
Again, you don't have to convince me. I think anything is possible. I fully believe that it is either a supernatural or extraterrestrial type of being, that it can travel this way, and that's why we don't find evidence.
Yeah, it's so wild.
Or like, you know what I mean, solid like skeletons and stuff like that. I don't think it's a biological creature.
Or it could be both, maybe. Maybe it's flesh and blood and
there's
interdimensional.
There's reconnaissance crews or crews that have to go, and if one dies, oh god, dies where it can't be seen, they have to go get the body and bring it through the portal. Yeah, it's when you it reminds me, there's been so many times if I've gotten like a big tall hotel, lots of floors, and I get on the elevator and somebody else has pushed a button and I'm not really paying attention, and it opens and I step out and then I'm like, oops, that's not the right floor. Like, do that thing where you back in. Sorry, everybody.
That's what Bigfoot did. He's like, oh, wrong floor.
I wasn't paying attention.
Would you go in? Like, let's say a portal opened
Yes.
in front of you.
The answer is yes.
You would just go to a place that,
Absolutely.
like, you see it and it looks nothing like Earth. You don't even know if it
I'm
has
going.
air.
I don't
You're
even
just
think I could
gonna
stop
go?
myself.
You have FOMO.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I think there's something in me that would just be like, oh, party. Like, I would just go. Like, it wouldn't even, unless, okay, well, if it looked like it was pleasant, like peaceful, like if I saw pew pew pew, like lasers going, like
going.
a war scene,
Yeah.
like Terminator level disaster, no, I might hesitate.
But what if it closes behind you and
It probably
and
will. I don't
and
think.
you're
I
there
think I know
forever?
myself. Like, in the moment, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm be like, let's go.
Wow, you should probably prepare your husband. Like, if he's listening right now, let him know, like, hey, if Lindsay disappears someday,
It might be through a portal.
she just went into a portal.
Although also a great escape from like murder accusations. I think she said episode 36, she said she'd just go into a portal. Must have been that.
I've never heard anybody use that excuse, but I love it.
It's the first time for everything. Don't even think about it, mister.
Okay, here's the next story. By the way, there are multiple Bigfoot stories. I'm just cherry picking a couple.
Well, I guess
stories.
I know what I'm going to be researching this weekend for
It's
funsies.
full of stuff. Thanks again, Tanya. There was so much fun stuff to read about this. Okay, the low-flying UFO encounter. One of the most frequently cited UFO encounters at the ranch involved a massive silent craft that flew really low over the
Awesome.
property.
Awesome.
Yeah, really low, like just above the treetops. And the trees in Sedona are short.
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses, including researchers and guests, so multiple people, reported seeing a triangular or disc-shaped objects with glowing lights underneath. That's kind of weird. I'm reading that now, like triangular and disc shape are nothing alike.
But if you saw something, so picture it, you're underneath
Yeah.
and it's kind of rounded, but also has that like pointed front.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
do.
you're under it, it's gonna look rounded, like disc-like, especially from the
Mhm.
back end. But then the front end, if you saw it from the side or from the top or it turned, then you might
Yeah.
actually then see that more
Like a
triangular
cone.
shape,
Yeah, like a cone shape, I guess.
or a
with some-
rounded triangle with a belly on it.
Yeah. All right.
Underneath.
You've made that made sense for me. And I would love to see one of these. So
Me
it goes
too.
over them. It hovers silently, and then before it glides slowly and deliberately across the sky. It was close enough to the people, the observers, that they could see all kinds of details. So they said it was like metallic. They saw panels.
Okay.
So it wasn't just all one metal piece, just panels of it, and lights arranged in patterns. And even though it was enormous and close to them, it made
No propulsion
no
sound.
sound. No sound.
I wonder, and I don't know where I'm pulling this. I want to say factoid, but it's not a factoid. This bit of info from, but I have a thing like in my brain. If it's got segmented panels, it's human made. If it doesn't, if it's all smooth, seamless, then I feel like those are the ones that are
Yeah.
extraterrestrial or UAPs. I wonder if this is a military craft.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Because
possible.
it sort of sounds like the stealth bomber. What's that craft? I mean, I walked by it 100 times this last summer at the National Air and Space Museum at Hazy. Let me find it. So the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird is a black supersonic reconnaissance aircraft, and it is stored at the Stephen F. Udvar Hazy Center in Chantilly, Virginia, part of the National Air and Space Museum, known for its speed and high altitude capabilities.
That's going to have a propulsion device, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe-
Oh yeah, it was used during the
And
Cold
go
War
fast.
too, so
Interesting.
it's older.
that
Isn't
would
that
look, yeah,
space
that
agey?
picture you're showing me would,
Like
I
when
would
you
describe
see it
it-
in person, you're like, that could totally be mistaken for
mistaken
an
as a
alien
spaceship.
aircraft.
it's got panels, it's metallic, it's both cylindrical and triangular.
Yep, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of technology.
The only problem is that I don't think that would hover. It couldn't hover. So they're talking about
Right.
some kind of zero gravity,
right,
no propulsion thing.
right. That's bonkers. Yeah, not as far as I know does it exist, but in
Well,
human
maybe-
world, but
Maybe we have
who
the
knows?
technology and it's just super secret.
Just trying to make comparisons if it could be something that we just have militaristically
Mhm.
that we haven't openly declassified or whatever, but probably not.
I don't know.
This was when, the 90s, or this is
in the 90s?
Okay, yeah, no, probably not. Interesting.
Who knows though? The military is probably 100 years ahead of what they actually let us know about. So they've probably got all kinds of crazy technology that we won't know about for 100 years.
Right.
Okay, this next story is a personal interest to me because we're going to talk about the shadow people and the humanoid beings that they've seen on the ranch. Okay. One of the chilling shadow person encounters at Bradshaw Ranch involved a researcher who was walking near one of the property's main energy hotspots, and he suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of dread, like being watched, which I think can happen with high EMF. Is that right? Electromagnetic frequency?
Yep. I also think humans are designed we're animals, right? So like a rabbit will all of a sudden stop, or deer, their little tails will go up when they sense danger. We have that in us too.
Okay.
We just tend to ignore it a lot more. But yeah, I think it's that as well.
That's what this person felt when they were walking through this spot. They felt like they were being watched. And out of the corner of their eye, they saw a tall, completely black silhouette with no discernible features. No face, no clothing, just a human-like shape darker than the surrounding night, standing motionless near the tree. And when they turned to look directly at it, the figure darted away unnaturally fast, vanishing into thin air without a sound. These shadowy entities have been reported multiple times on the ranch, often accompanied by electronic malfunctions, cold spots, and feelings of intense anxiety. Some people think that they're interdimensional watchers or guardians of the activity around the land.
That's a boring job.
If they're getting paid well. I don't know.
Yeah. And you gotta, it's like in the job description, must hover within the periphery, just in that blind spot of all people. The second they turn, you're in their direct line of sight. You gotta run. You gotta book it. You have to be the Usain Bolt of shadow people.
This is exactly what I saw in my apartment, though. Do you remember I told you the story of my shadow person I saw? Only seen it one time, folks, so it's not like a recurring hallucination or anything. It was I saw a shadow person just like this, except I didn't feel any sense of dread. I was just more like, whoa. But it was exactly like this. The silhouette of a human, blacker than black, blacker than I've ever seen. And it moved so fast. It moved like unnaturally fast. And there was not enough time for me to even really register what was happening. And then it was over. And I was like, what did I just see run down my hallway?
Right. I've never seen one. Thank goodness.
Do you think it would scare you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even knowing that I saw one and it wasn't scary?
Well, I say that, and then I also know that I've experienced weird stuff, haunted stuff repeatedly, or, seemingly haunting things, and just had that, like, wonder what that is. I'm going to figure that out mentality. So maybe I would just be like, and try to, like, follow it, figure out what that could have been. I would try to debunk it. Was that something in the light? Was it car lights passing through my window? Like, I would do all the things to try to convince myself, no, I didn't just see that. Yeah. And then I'd have to come to terms with, I think I might have, and I'm calling Amanda.
Yeah, and I cannot justify it I have no idea what it was other than a human-shaped shadow running down my hallway.
But millions of people have such accounts, so it's like, it's definitely a phenomenon that exists.
I'm really especially fascinated with it, though, because I did have that experience. And so I really latch onto stories that I hear. And the things that are that are like similar from other people's stories is that it's almost like they play peekaboo. Like some of them have even been caught on camera. And it's like, as soon as you look at it, it's like, boop. It disappears really fast.
Around a corner, at a doorway. Yeah.
So it's like they're watchers. But what are they watching and why?
Well, you in your apartment, you were in a time of transition, right?
Right, we were moving out. We were packing up.
So it might have been just like noting the shift.
And it begs the question, like, are they around us all the time and we just don't notice them until we get lucky, once in a lifetime lucky enough to see one? Or
well, I think the spiritual realm is always right there and we just can't see it all the time.
So that shadow guy was just like in my house all for 8 years and then just decides to get caught when we're moving out?
Maybe.
I don't know.
You wrestled
I have a lot of
up.
questions about it. Yeah.
And we may never know. Even if we die and then we get all the answers, like to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that may still remain a mystery.
I don't like mysteries. I want to know everything.
I know!
I
like mysteries. I'm cool with not knowing a lot, just because it's more fun for me to wonder. And also it's overwhelming to try to find all the answers to everything.
True. I have spent way too much time on podcasts and stuff. Okay, here's my last story that I thought was interesting. They have also seen what they describe as light beings or fairy-like entities.
Fairies, man. A lot of people think fairies are cute and cuddly and sweet. You and I know better. Yeah. You do not mess with the fae.
I don't know if I would describe this as a fairy, but definitely like a light being, or maybe even an angel, like a human-like shape, or an alien that's made all out of light. So one of the most fascinating witness accounts from the ranch describes an encounter with a light being, a humanoid figure composed entirely of radiant, pulsating light. According to the story, a small group of researchers were doing a night investigation when a brilliant ball of light, like an orb.
Time out.
Yeah.
You keep saying researchers. Who are
This
these
is the
people?
guy-
Like paranormal researchers?
Yeah, it's the Sega group that's run by
the actual Sega group.
Tom Dongo. Tom Dongo's group.
And now goes on. Tom Dongo and now goes on.
Tom Dongo.
Okay.
It was his group of researchers doing a night investigation when a brilliant ball of light, it's like an orb, right? And I've seen pictures of these two people who claim that they've caught UFOs or whatever. It's an orb of light suddenly appears in a clearing and begins to morph into the shape of a person standing roughly 6 feet tall.
That's so Cocoon. Remember the movie Cocoon?
Yeah, that's when they take their skin off and they're just a light being.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. The being emitted no heat and made no sound, but radiated an intense hypnotic glow that bathed the area in a bluish-white light.
Okay, I'm down for that.
As the group watched in silence, the being slowly raised an arm in what seemed like a gesture of greeting, like, hello. And then it just gradually faded away into thin air.
It was a peace out.
And some witnesses, different from like the shadow humanoid, they describe watching this, feeling an overwhelming sense of peace and intelligence coming from the being.
It's a light hog. It sucked all the light out of all the other shadow beings. Or maybe they have nothing to do with each other. But, well, that's cool. I don't love... This is going to be so random. I don't love when we as humans or anything... How do I want to put this? When things of light and things of dark are assigned or experienced as being light is good, dark is bad. Light is peace, dark is evil or dread or fear. I think we have to be really careful of where we as humans in experiencing things like that, of our implicit biases that go into these things, that just because something is dark and skittering and out of our periphery and seems to be sneaky or darting in and out or whatever, doesn't mean it's bad. And something that is bright white light and then all it does is be like deuces and fades out, it didn't heal anybody, it just showed up, but it's light. I think a lot of the times we attribute these feelings because of these implicit biases over millennia of cultural things, and it plays into our relationships with race as humans. And it bugs me. And it was dark as night, it was light as day. Like, things are good and bad, but they're based on their darkness versus lightness. And
that's very well said.
I don't know. It wasn't well said at all.
No, it was.
But it's just something that I always get. That it just triggered that.
And I hope people listening will just kind of think, okay, like, just check yourself when you instantly go to dark is evil, light is good. Just kind of just check yourself when you're, what'd you call it, biases?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's another reason I've had trouble researching the shadow entity that I saw in my apartment, because I did not have any feelings of negativity, dread, scariness. But when I look up a lot of stories from other people, they have that feeling associated with it.
And that feeling might just be what the crap was that?
Well, that was my feeling, was like, whoa.
But it didn't, like, I think sometimes people get, rather than being, like, curious, like you were, they get afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
And I think there's a different reaction of people. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's, of course you might, some people, it makes sense to me that some people feel dread or anxiety or fear, because that was weird. Like, that was unexpected. And so that's an acceptable emotional response. But I would challenge people to think, maybe that emotion came from within you, not externally from that thing.
Yeah, because that's made it hard to research, because I feel like, well, what if there's two different entities? There's like the shadow thing that doesn't cause any feelings, and the one that does.
And we can't trust ourselves as humans, because look, on the Bananas podcast today, one of the stories that they talked about was how psychopaths are generally, like, with a large margin, more attractive than the average human.
That's weird.
Well, but it also makes them very successful. That I don't know that we could trust, right? Because we have all these biases.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people will trust someone just because they're good looking.
Right.
Classically good looking.
Right.
And then these people turn out to be Machiavellian, psychopathological weirdos.
That was Ted Bundy. My dad worked with Ted Bundy, like at a job, an accounting job or something, and they worked together. He didn't like know him, but they were in the same office building, and he
very charming, very good looking.
That's what my dad said. He was crazy charming. Everybody really liked him.
He wouldn't have gone out with that many women and gotten that much attention from women if he didn't have those things going for him. So yeah, I think we can't always trust our gut instinct about the way something looks.
Right.
We are flawed in that way.
Very much.
And it's why sharks get such a bad rap too.
Well,
no,
I don't like sharks.
Don't you dare.
I don't like them.
Don't you dare. I don't want to swim around with them, but I don't want anything bad to happen to them. They get a real bad rap.
That's true. Okay, I'm on board for that. But they scare me.
Well, sure.
Because of the teeth. It's not the...
Right. But most of the sharks, like, people are swimming with sharks all the time and don't even know it. Like, they'll do, like, a drone flyover of, like, beaches in Florida during the busiest time, right, in the summertime. And there's dozens of sharks right there. And nothing happens. A shark attack is so rare.
Okay, so let's move into the Native American or the Native peoples.
Sí, por favor. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So there were a lot of groups in this area. You probably heard of Apache. Apache. There's the Yavapai.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they viewed this Sedona area, all the red rocks there, as sacred. And they would use this area for vision quests and healing and access to the spirit realms. And so they have had stories of portals and things like that around this ranch and around Sedona since time immemorial. Yeah. Then there's the Hopi. Have you heard of Hopi? They believe that there are spirit beings that can appear as light. They have that story passed down through oral tradition since time immemorial. And so some people are linking like the light beings that are being seen at the ranch to these, they're calling them Hopi spirits. And then there's the Navajo, who believe in the shapeshifters and the SWs.
Right, the thin talkers.
And they think that like the shadow beings that they saw could possibly be connected to this Navajo stories of the shapeshifters. Although I don't know that it changes shapes, but all right. So want to go into some theories and things? What do you think is happening at this ranch and at SW Ranch? Do you think?
I think there's higher levels of energy in different pockets of the earth that just make it easier for things to happen. Sort of like weather systems. There are parts of the planet where tsunamis or hurricanes or typhoons, these kinds of things are going to happen more with great regularity in these places, just based on their geography, climate, the water around them, etc. I think the same thing happens in energy fields. So there's going to be places where there's greater circulation of energy or higher levels of EMF or lower levels or higher levels of radiation and things like that. And that can result not in a weather system change, but in an energy type of production of some kind. And so then that could theoretically lend itself great to easier travel, interdimensional travel, or just an effect on our bodies that allows us to see things and experience things that we couldn't in a different setting, just because of the way the energy works there.
Yeah.
Like an invisible weather system.
Well, you're saying it's, to paraphrase, it's natural. It's there in the earth since time immemorial.
I believe so.
As opposed to like entities from aliens or something, like putting it there.
I think it's
choosing a place and being like, let's put our portal in Sedona.
I think it makes it easier for them to do that. Sort of like if you look at a landscape and you go, you know what, we need a freeway off-ramp there. Where would it make the most sense to build that? I
want to do an episode on ley lines.
Okay.
I don't know much about ley lines. But that's similar, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of wild theories about ley lines.
Do you think the government took it over to hide things and research it on their own?
Probably. I mean, I don't know why else you would. Why else would the government use eminent domain to just plant some trees for a state?
Well, they were going to make it like part of the national forest in that area.
You're not taking somebody's property for eminent domain in this. Right. I mean, I did not in the 90s. Or was it 90s or 2003 that they did that?
It was the 2003. So
that's weird.
They would have come in and been like, we need this forest to be bigger. Let's take this land.
I mean, it wasn't like the days of FDR. Like, this was recent.
Right.
22 years ago.
Right.
That's surprising. It's not impossible that they'd be like, we need to expand it for the something owl survival rate or whatever. Who knows? But the eminent domain thing is a little bizarre. And the fact that it's very similar to other ranches around that have similar stories makes me think. And the government is very interested in the SW Ranch. Very interested. They can hardly do anything without helicopters flying over, Blackhawks, whatever. Don't quote me on Blackhawk, but I feel like that's something they've said. They're black helicopters. Let's go with that. It doesn't surprise me that the government would want to button that right up.
Yeah.
To contain it. It'd be like a gas leak for the government, I would think. Like, crap. We gotta seal this up so it doesn't get out of control, or so people don't hurt themselves, or so that we can capitalize on it, exploit it in our own way. Whatever their motives might be. For good or for evil or both.
There's so much that I didn't cover. Like, I recommend everybody go and learn more about Bradshaw Ranch, because there's so much. They even found like a cave and a tunnel underneath.
Well, I was looking at on Google Earth, and there's I thought it was weird. So let me show you this. Okay, so I'm looking at the dirt roads around it, right? So this seems to be the main entryway into where the ranch is, okay? There's a lot of weird things here, but over here, see this little trail here of like a ATV type of trail, but that's definitely like Jeep tracks. Those are big.
Yeah.
Okay, it just goes. It goes, and then it just stops and kind of circles around this tree. But then if you look in here, there's kind of a well-worn spot here, and it almost looks like there's a structure hiding under
trees. The tree.
And then if you go back a little farther...
Oh, I see it. Oh, that's weird.
Right? So there's like these other... It looks like a little system, maybe. And then over here we've got... where was it? There was like a weird circular... Oh, this... Whatever that is.
That's wild. Okay, this is your homework, everybody. You need to Google Earth.
Get on Google
Bradshaw
Earth.
Ranch. It's just weird looking.
There's some other strange structures and landscape things here that just have me curious. So yeah, go check it out. It's curious. It's in between like Lincoln Canyon, Hartwell Canyon, or Hartwell Canyon. Right in between those two little canyons.
Yeah. And there's so much more research you can do on your own. There's the documentaries, more podcasts, there's books about it from people that live there. The woman that lived there wrote a book about all her experiences. And they're wild. Like, this was just the tip of the iceberg, what I shared with you tonight. There's tons. We went to the Grand Canyon, my husband and I, once. I was pregnant, and we were just taking a vacation, and we drove out there, and we just stopped at like the viewing area and got out of the car, and we looked at it, and we were like, okay, I'm done. I've seen it. Like, I don't know what.
That's it? You're like, it's just a big hole in the ground.
Neither of us had any, and we got there, we saw it, it was amazing, and then neither of us had any like feeling of like, we need to stay here and explore and hike. We were both like, seen it. I've seen it.
All right, check that off the list.
I'm sorry, Grand Canyon. There wasn't anything else to do.
You weren't going to ride a donkey down to the bottom,
no.
That's for sure.
Well, that's the end of my story. You need to go and do more of your own research to learn more.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I definitely want to learn more. That was good. That was very good. But yes, we need adventures. You and I. Next summer, I won't be nearly as busy as this summer.
You're slammed this summer.
Yeah, I'm gone.
In good ways.
39 days this summer. But next summer shouldn't be. I don't have any major travel plans for next summer.
Have you heard of a puckwudgie?
I'm sorry. What did you just call me?
Puckwudgie.
That's a great word.
That
That sounds like a Hogwarts.
It's going to be one of my future episodes. Don't look it up.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a mythical or whatever.
It's a cryptid,
legend.
yeah.
Oh, I love it. It sounds adorable,
It
but also
is.
kind of mean.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that. All right. Well, did you say class dismissed?
Oh, you're going to... Class dismissed. And don't open the door. Fantastic.